Hey, this is Strength Coach Alberto here. Thanks for tuning in to Level 1 Boxing Series. And we're going to kick this off with some fundamentals. All right, the boxing stance, the lateral and linear footwork, and the pivot. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the boxing stance. But before we break that down, just kind of let you know, there's a lot of boxing stance. There are stances that are unique to your greatest strengths, and also positions and situations you end up being when it comes down to sparring or fighting. All right, but we're going to break down now is just pretty basic and fundamental, and it will help you both offensively and defensively. Okay, so start off in a anatomical position, shoulder width apart. If you're right-handed, you're going to step forward with your left hand. If you're right-handed, you step forward with your right arm. Okay, so I'm right-handed. I'm going to take a shoulder width apart, step forward with my left leg. All right, just like so. And then I'm going to position my body at a 45 degrees. So I'm going to pivot my feet, both my feet, at a 45 degrees. And it's going to position my whole body on an angle, on a 45 degree angle. Okay, so you minimize any gaps or any windows for being exposed for any type of hitting, okay, or target. You want to minimize as much of an opening as much as possible. All right, so angling your body is going to provide that best defensive positioning to prevent you from getting hit. Okay, assuming you're gonna do some sparring or take it to that next level. All right, so from here, keep your knees softly bent. All right, you want to keep your rear elbow relaxed against your body, keeping a hand at your chin height. Okay, you want to protect this side of the face. This hand, you're going to position it a little bit ahead of your body. It's going to also be aligned with your nose or with your center line. Okay, and it's going to be about 2-3 inches away from the body line. Okay, and this should be an ideal stance for boxing. Okay, knees are softly bent. You want to stay rooted. All right. Now, as far as the weight ratio, it's more of a 65-45%. So 65% will be on the back leg, 45% of your weight will be on the front leg. Okay, so you want to keep most of your weight loaded back here, that's going to help once we get to the punching aspect of this to transfer as much weight into your shots as possible. Okay, so that's your box stance right here. Really simple. Keep the shoulders nice and loose. Also keep your wrists and try not to clench either. All right, don't over clench. Just keep them nice and relaxed, like you're holding handlebars. Okay, just keep them loose. All right, the loose they are, the more fluid your maneuvers are going to be when it comes down to punching, and also you're wasting less energy. All right, and that's the basic boxing stance. So starting from the beginning. Give you a nice lateral view here, standing from the shoulder width apart. Take that step forward, twist at a 45 degrees, bend your knees a little bit, position your elbow up, again rest it against the body, bring the arm up to nose height, and keep it right here, keep everything tight, shoulders tight. All right, and that is your boxing stance. Okay, pretty simple. All right. So the next one we're gonna get into is the footwork. All right, there are lots of footwork. There's so many ways to maneuver, but we won't get into that too deeply. Again, I just want to show the fundamentals. So this one here is gonna really carry over to transitioning into your shots, moving forward, retracting as smoothly and quickly as possible. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into that and break that down. So from your stance, we're going to start with the linear footwork, which is we're going to focus on going forward and going back. Okay, so in our stance, the way we're going to move forward, all right, this is going to be more of a jump than it is a step. Okay, a lot of people get this confused. This push shuffle step here they get it confused as a step, and it's not a step. All right. So here, let me show you what a step looks like first. So here, this is a step, right? You're just stepping forward. You're stepping, all right? But that's not what I'm looking for, okay? That's pretty easy to do. This one's gonna help spring and put more energy either into your shots or getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Okay, either that'd be a short distance or a medium range, and even at times a much longer range, depending on how far you're lunging, either at the bag or at your opponent or whatever. So from here, you're gonna start with lifting the front foot. Okay, so you want to make this front foot as empty as possible, and the back leg you really want to load it up with your weight, and you also want to coil up. You want to raise the back of the heel a little bit, because you're gonna drive through that leg. It's gonna help you propel you forward. Okay, so you're here, you lift, and you push. Okay, and one thing I want to note here is when you're in motion and moving forward, but once you're landing, you want to maintain the same distance between your feet as you started. Okay, a lot of people like to step forward, and all of a sudden the leg is really close to the front leg, and this is not the ideal position you want to be in. Okay, you want to end up here. Okay, so start from the beginning. Here you lift the front foot, you push, and you end up in that same position. Okay, same thing when we're going to retract. Okay, now we're going to go backwards. Now you're going to do the opposite motion. You're going to lift the back leg, and you're going to push off the front leg. Okay, so you're going to lift, and then push. Okay, so either moving forward or moving back is going to feel a bit more natural for you. So for some people, it's easier for them to move forward than it is to move back. All right, where other people that at least from my experience in teaching, it's easier for them to go back than it is to go forward. So this particular technique is going to require a little bit of time to practice and break down, and you're gonna have to fight that urge and want to speed up. Okay, so let's go over it one more time. So the best way to practice, don't try to think about jumping too far ahead. Take small leaps. Okay, even if it's just like a couple inches or a couple centimeters, even like a foot or two. Okay, do this here. Just keep it real tight. Boom, boom. All right. So you lift, push, lift, push, lift, push, lift, push, lift, push, lift, push. All right. Now we can double that up. We can triple that. You can move as many times as you want in either direction. Really doesn't matter. Okay, it really depends on your intention and also the space that you're practicing in. Okay, so but I always recommend moving 2 to 3 times in either direction, forward or back. Right? And then you can also play with it in part of your drill. Okay, as a drill, right? So you're here, 1, 2. You can move back 1, 2. You can move forward 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Back 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Or you can go forward once, go forward, back twice. Boom. Forward 3 times, or backwards once. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And once you really start going, kind of feel like you're gliding on the ground a little bit. Excuse me. But one thing is you're gonna feel these in your calves. You're gonna feel these in your calves. May feel these in your quads, but that's okay. If you feel like you're getting really fatigued when you're practicing this drill, just slow it down or give yourself as much break as possible. All right. But that's the linear aspect of this technique. Now you can actually move in the lateral direction as well. Okay. So let's go and cover that. So back in your stance, right? Remember your stance, right? Keep everything balanced. Keep most of your weight on the back leg. Remember 65% on the back leg, 45% on the front leg. Keeping the hands nice and loose. All right, now the most natural direction we want to go is towards the lead leg. So we're going to go to my left, okay? So same idea, you're gonna lift the front leg, right? Keep it nice and loose. You don't wanna change, you know, your body position, right? You don't wanna give away where you're moving, right? You wanna keep the leg moving by itself without changing the level of your body, all right? So you're gonna lift, and I'm gonna move to my left. Lift, push off, and there you go. I covered a good foot across towards my left. Now we'll do the same thing going the opposite direction. This time, I'm gonna lift my back leg. Okay, I'm gonna lift, push off, and then now I'm back in the opposite direction. Back here, same thing, going back to the opposite direction. Lift, push, 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 boom, boom. All right, now this is another one you can also play with it, just as like I mentioned on the linear line. 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 3 to the right, 2 to the left. And you can change your cadence. You can go fast, you can go slow, you can go fast or slow. I mean, you can break it up, and it'll definitely get you working. All right, but it does expend a way more energy. So this is only utilized when you need to, especially when you're on an attack, or just kind of provide more versatility to your arsenal as far as footwork and maneuvering. Okay, so it's pretty basic. All right, now, so that's it for that. Now we're going to move on to the pivot. All right, it's one of the most versatile techniques in boxing. Okay, so this one's relatively pretty easy. All right, so starting from my stance again, as everything is. For my stance, a pivot. So I'll break down to explain this. So you're not necessarily moving in place, you're in position, but you're just moving at a 45-degree angle, right? While maintaining your position. Right? That means I'm not traveling a foot forward or back or to my left or to my right, like we just covered on the footwork. This one is just more to provide a different angle, okay? And creates a different space, you know, pertaining between you and another individual. Okay, so here I'm gonna pivot on my lead foot. That's where I'm gonna position all my weight when I pivot. All right, I'm gonna pivot in a clockwise direction. All right, and I'm gonna stay on this leg, on the balls of my foot, on the front leg. From here, I'm gonna push off my back leg like so at a 45 degrees. Now I'm facing this direction. Okay, and I can do the same thing going back the direction I came from. Boom. And I can do the same thing moving at a 45 to my left. Okay, back to the center. Back to my left. Back to the center. Back to my right. Back to the center. So you see, I'm staying in place, but I'm changing the direction I'm facing. Okay, this is a very important technique, but for the case of just learning the basics, it's just more essential for you to add some more versatility when it comes down to actually applying the punches and the head movement and changing directions, just to make things a bit more fun when you're actually applying the technique. You're not just standing in one place and just working. Okay, it just kind of gives you more variety. Okay, so let's go over that one more time. So here, back in your boxing stance. Again, you're pivoting on this front foot. Again, try not to. You have to raise your heel, okay, when you pivot. Don't keep your foot flat. Okay, so you're here. Raise the heel up. Raise the heel. Pivot. Bam. Back to the center. Pivot. Back to the center. Pivot. Back to the center, pivot, back to the center, pivot, back to the center. All right, that's pretty much it for the pivot. Okay, now the next thing I want to go over is kind of putting these together. All right, now we're going to put all these into practice But I would recommend before starting this next portion is spend a little bit of time going over each of the technique. Right? You'll probably flow through the boxing stance pretty quickly. But as far as the linear footwork, definitely put some time into that. That definitely requires way more time to really get down and start to feel a bit more natural for you, or at least get the grasp of the idea of how it works. Okay. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to just utilize the push shuffle technique, but you could definitely add some steps in between your maneuvers and shuffles or whatnot. Okay. And then we're gonna mix in some pivots as well. Okay. So the way that's gonna look, get into your stance. All right, a different drill that I want you to work on. I'll give you a lateral view here. All right, start mixing it up. Okay, once you break everything down, just kind of free flow the movement. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just put it into action. Move forward, move to the right, move to the left, bam, 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 bam. And just moving around however you want to move. You can pivot, bam, bam, bam. Move to my right, pivot, pivot, move to my left. And you see how everything just kind of makes sense, right? Boom, 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 boom. So it's a great way to maneuver, have fun with it. It also gets your heart rate up a little bit. It also helps you, you know, if you're in a very confined space, it's a great way to kind of help you maneuver around, and those pivots will help you definitely redirect and not break the flow of your movements. Okay, so there you have it, good old fundamentals. Stay tuned for the next series, which we're going to cover some punches and yeah, and then plenty more to come. Look forward to seeing you then.